Welcome, I have 3 stories today and all of them are breakup stories. Timestamps in the description box. Story number 1. Opie writes, I found out that my husband tried to convince his old girlfriend to run off with him before her wedding. So that has happened. The best part is we're on holiday with 3 other couples in a foreign country. My sister sent me money so I could get my own room here. I looked at changing my flight, but it's so expensive. We aren't scheduled to leave for 4 days yet. Last year, my husband and some of his friends had a lads' weekend in London. Really, he had gone to Liverpool because he heard his old girlfriend from university was getting married and he went to convince her to run off with him. She sent him on his way. I only found out because 2 of his mates and one of their wives, who are on holiday with us, talked about it after we'd all been drinking. My husband didn't deny it. He says it was a stupid decision he made on a whim, and besides that hasn't seen or talked to her in 12 years, and he's never been unfaithful. But he didn't deny that he asked her to run off with him and ask his mates to lie for him. At least the beach here is beautiful and the resort has alcohol. I'm just wanting a good cry here. I have called my sister, but I don't want to run up my mobile bill. I can't stay with him, not after that. I'm on here to spill my feelings everywhere. I've already cried on the beach. Let's get 2 comments with replies from OP before we get OP's update. In case nobody has mentioned it, his mates and one of their girlfriends are a-holes for hiding that from you if you had to accidentally find out after they were drinking. OP replies, all 6 of them knew, plus there are people back home who knew too. Someone else says, you'll get through this, girl. Did any of the women try to comfort you? I suppose you've been working and saving for this holiday. What a nightmare. I want to give you a hug. Keep your dignity, because they certainly don't have any. OP replies, the wives all knew. I told all of them to leave me alone right now. We saved for this holiday for 2 years, and then it got delayed because of the pandemic. I'm so angry about all of this, and I'm not enjoying myself. Well, OP is from Wales and she was holidaying in Florida when she wrote this. And here's OP's update. It's not very exciting, but I was getting people asking. Our flight ended up being delayed because of the storm that came to Florida. When we did get to fly home, I wasn't sitting with my husband or any of them. My sister picked me up from the airport and I am staying with her for the time being. My husband has tried to explain, but I don't want to hear it. It's my intention to get a divorce. Here in Wales, divorce is no fault, and anything he did won't have any effect on it. Both of us have jobs. We didn't have kids yet. Our flat isn't owned by either of us. The process has started, but it won't be drawn out. I've also had some of the people who knew what he did apologize to me for hiding it, but it feels like too little, too late to me. Let's get 1 comment with a reply from OP. How long have you been married? OP replies, we have been married for 7 years. Oh my goodness, OP. Saving for 2 years to go on a trip abroad only to find out something like that about your husband. And the fact that people were in on it by hiding it from you, they were in on it. All those couples knew about it. As you said, people back home knew about it and nobody said anything. I'm sure some people didn't feel good about it, but they didn't know whether or not to say something because there is that whole shoot the messenger thing. So that could be why some of them were too afraid to say something. But definitely there were some of them that were just plain covering up for him. And OP, I understand why you are divorcing your husband. It's really bad that he went over there and wanted to run away with his ex-girlfriend. It doesn't matter that he hadn't seen her for years before that. What if she had said yes? Where would you be then? Would he just have dropped you, dumped you right then and there? Would you have gotten a phone call from him in Liverpool? No, you can't stay married to somebody like this. I get it. Cheating isn't always sexual. It goes beyond that, and this is the intention that your husband had of running off with somebody else. This would make anybody question their marriage, the whole relationship they had with somebody, if he was just waiting all this time to get back together with his ex, and all the questions about what the marriage meant to him or didn't mean to him. So Opie, you are better off, and I'm so sorry that this happened, and it happened when you were so far away from home and your comfort zone and your support network. I understand that you will never again be able to trust your husband. There'll always be that thing in the back of your mind. Is he going to come home today and tell me he's going to leave me for this person or that person or whatever? Because it's very bizarre that he went to his ex and tried to get her to run away with him. Let's move on to story number 2. Opie writes, my husband, male 28, is wealthy and he is providing me, female 30, a great life while I'm studying. I would never have afforded it otherwise. As a matter of fact, I was a barista before I met him and didn't even dare dreaming about starting college. Now I'm in engineering school. He pays for everything. We have a great house. I don't need to do anything but study and have fun. His best friend, female 27, from college, separated from her common-law husband after he cheated on her. She had no place to go, and we have a guest house. I never had anything to worry about with them, because they have known each other for ages. I always thought if they wanted, it would have happened already. I was mistaken. I started having a hunch because of nothing in particular, just felt that they changed with each other. So I snuck on them after pretending to go to my mom's. Nobody knows that I know. I couldn't let him touch me for 2 months, blaming it on stress from school starting. Now we do have sex because I don't want him to suspect me or get tired of me. I cried the first time he touched me after I found out and wanted to vomit, but I blamed it on stress. Now I just let him. I try to think about other things and try to convince myself that it's just sex. I fake it sometimes when he notices me being absent-minded and starts saying, quote, baby, come back to me, unquote. I'm in a race with time to finish school before he throws me aside for her. I also had an IUD in without telling him. Nobody knows, not even my closest friends. Everyone thinks I'm the luckiest woman on earth, so loved and cherished by an amazing, successful husband. Nobody knows that I cry myself to sleep every night. Let's get 2 comments with replies from Opie before we get an update from Opie. So, do you have an exit plan? Opie replies, finish school and move to another city. Someone else asks, is she still in the guest house? Opie replies, yes. I don't think she's going to leave anytime soon. She's talking about getting back with her husband if he proposed. And here's Opie's update. Hi everyone. I'm overwhelmed by the people who reached out to me, and thank you for all the advice. I might have done something very petty last Tuesday, and I still don't know how to feel about what I did and what good it did. Actually, no good at all. But I think the comments here triggered something inside me that told me to stop hiding. I will have to wait and see if I blew up my future. I hope I did not. As I said before, maybe not in the post but in the comments, that my husband's friend was trying to reconcile with her husband. She invited him for dinner in her guest house, and after dinner they asked if they could join us for wine, and my husband was happy to invite them. They stayed for about 2 hours, and I had a lot to drink and wasn't talking a lot. When they came to the subject of reconciliation, I don't know what came over me, but I just mumbled, quote, good, I'm happy you two are getting back together, so she stops effing my husband, unquote. It didn't go well afterwards. My husband looked at me in shock, and I asked him if he thought I didn't know. I've known for months. Friend's husband kept asking, quote, "Is this true? Are you serious? I can't believe you," unquote. My husband started crying, and the friend started shouting, "You witch," and apologizing to her husband. When her husband left in anger, she rounded on me to yell some more. I told my husband that I was going to bed, and when I wake up tomorrow, I want her to be gone, or I'm gone, and left them in the kitchen. I heard them yelling. Yesterday, she was gone. My husband wanted to talk and explain that it was nothing. He never meant to hurt me. He was so stupid not connecting the dots when my mental health was deteriorating. She meant nothing, and he regrets it. He told me that he wanted to make it up to me and start couples therapy because we love each other and we can overcome this with some help. So now he thinks we are going to work on our marriage. I don't know when he's going to call my bluff or what happens when his friend is officially single. I heard that her husband has asked for separation of assets. I hope I didn't ruin everything because of one drunken mistake. Let's get a comment with a reply from Opie. You didn't ruin anything. They both ruined your marriage and hers. It's great he wants couples counseling, but you have a right to deny it. I wish you the best of luck. Opie replies, We'll see how much I've ruined. He has moved out to the guest house now because I told him I needed space. I can't control my emotions anymore. Opie, that must have been so hard for you to keep that in for so long. So no wonder it came out. And as somebody commented there, you didn't ruin anything. You didn't do anything wrong. Your husband is eager now to make it up to you and go to couples counseling and telling you that it meant nothing. Well, if it meant nothing, why did he do it? And what's worse is when people cheat on their spouses and they do it in their home, in their own house, they cheat on their spouses. Is nothing sacred? Clearly not to your husband. And really the audacity of your husband's friend to get upset with you and to yell at you as if you have no right to be upset with her. And I can understand why her partner is upset with her as well, even though her partner had cheated on her. I'm quite sure that she was taking a holier-than-thou approach. And then when you came out with the truth, that made him realize that he was also being played, despite not being innocent in the story himself. Opie, I don't know where you are or what your rights are regarding a divorce, but I can see that all you want is to complete your studies and have the opportunity from there to stand on your own and to support yourself and not have to ask for alimony or anything from your husband after the divorce. I don't know if you can work something out with you staying on and him staying in the guest house until you've completed your studies, or if he pays for you to find another place to stay until you've completed your studies. Maybe you should consult a lawyer and find out what your rights are. And I really do hope and I really believe as well that he will have to continue paying for you until you've completed your studies, and then you can be independent and he won't have to pay you alimony or anything, because as I said, I don't think you want anything from him except the financial ability to complete your studies and to get on with your life. I think this is one of those stories where possibly months could go by before there's an update, or even longer, or maybe there never is a proper update. If there is a proper update to this, then I think I'm going to do a video about it, and I'll just put the link in the description box. Come back and see if there's something there. I hope that if there is an update, it's going to be that Opie has completed her studies and she's moving on with her life. Let's go to story number 3. Opie writes, It's been about nearly a month since we broke up, and I'm honestly so freaking glad I did not waste any more time on him. You know the saying, quote, when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags, unquote. That was me. Even up until recently, I still loved him and wanted us to get back together because I had this dumb fantasy in my head that he would be everything I wanted him to be, and we would have a happy life and go on to get married. I still tried to work on our relationship because we lived together. I wasted countless hours pouring my feelings out to him whilst he practically laughed in my face and called me dramatic. When I would act cold to him, he would promise he'd change, go to counseling, and that I was the love of his life. When I stopped being cold, he would be mean, angry, make me cry because he found it funny. Yesterday was it for me. This isn't the person I love, and I can't believe I wasted so much time on him and uprooted my life for him. I tried explaining to him once more how I felt and was met with frustration and misogynistic remarks. I've never been more disgusted with someone in my life. How did I love this person? What was it that I loved about him again? I can't remember. When he finally was able to reduce me down to tears, he called me selfish for making him feel bad. When I went out with friends and came home, he again raged at me for just up and leaving because I should never leave. Safe to say, I'm leaving in a month. He knows because I told him. When he heard that, suddenly he was kind and loving, asking why I would want to make him homeless and that I obviously don't love him anymore if I'm doing this. He's right, I don't love him. This version of him, with every day that passes that we aren't together, the mask he had on falls. I'm not scared of him, but now that I can finally see him for who he is, the real him, I can't afford to stay any longer. I know if I did, he would make it impossible for me to leave, because at the end of the day, he needs me. And if he had it his way, I would never leave. I'm excited to leave, start my life and future somewhere else. I only have to hold out for a month. Well, Opie did write an update saying that it's been a month, but it was actually 2 months later that we got this update from Opie. So it's been a month since I wrote that last post about my ex. Some wanted an update, and I didn't want to update until everything had settled down, so here it goes. Basically, I moved out at the end of October. Me and my ex have spoken a handful of times on the phone, mainly about splitting the final bills, which he refused to pay. Every time I called him, or he called me, he was high. From what I heard, he's been high every single day since, and his mental health is declining. When he would call me, it was to gloat about some random girl he, quote, supposedly, unquote, hooked up with, in an attempt to make me jealous, but then getting upset when I would just be like, quote, that's great, I hope everything goes well for you, unquote. Kill them with kindness, or so they say. Whilst I feel sorry for him, I don't have any feelings towards him, nor do I care about him like that anymore. I have basically stopped communicating with him at all and allowing him to take up space in my life. How am I doing? Great. I'm doing really well at my job, stress-free and happier. I got a few plants, just been working on my life. At the moment, I'm taking a break from relationships, just going to be working on myself. After coming out of that situation, I realized my self-esteem must have been incredibly low for me to put up with that and feel like it's all I deserved, like I wasn't worthy of someone who could treat me well. So it's time to care for me and put myself first. Opie, well done getting out of that. I don't know what's going on with your ex-boyfriend, if maybe he has some kind of a personality disorder or what it is, because he was so cruel with you when you would try to communicate your feelings to him, and then when you would go cold on him, suddenly he was loving and kind, and then when you finally left, he fell apart. So there could be a lot more going on with your ex-boyfriend than you realize, but it's not your problem, Opie. It is his responsibility to go get help. You are doing fantastic taking care of yourself and picking up the pieces and working on yourself so that you can have the best life possible. There are people out there that will push their partners and push them and push them and push them and expect them to just take it and always be there. They never seem to think that everyone has their limit, and Opie, I'm so glad that you finally reached yours. It doesn't matter how much you love somebody after a certain amount of abuse. After putting up with stuff like that for however long, a person will just go cold emotionally. One day you will just realize it's gone. All that love that you had for this person has died. And it's at that point that you can get out, as OP got out. And I'm so proud of you, OP, and I'm excited for your future. But whatever you do, OP, do not allow any more contact from your ex. You just have to go no contact at this point. I hope OP's story inspires other people who feel stuck, who feel that they love somebody so much that they can't leave this person. You can leave. You will reach that point where you will have the emotional and the mental strength to get out. Well, that's it for this edition. Thank you once again for allowing me to read these stories to you. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you again with more stories. Take care of yourself. Bye.